Going good.
Cool.
Just finished up sound check here. So we have a show tonight. So I'm able to get a couple of these interviews done in between getting dressed and doing the show.
Oh, cool. So you're on tour at the moment then?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So are you is this in promotion for the new album or sort of before the album comes out? Like what's the deal with the tour?
Um, this is actually the second leg of the U.S. tour we did earlier this year. It's called the 20 Years of Fear tour. So it's sort of a career spanning set list.
Wow.
However, this tour goes right into our album release. So the album comes out on October 7th. The tour
Yep.
ends October 28th. So yeah, it's a little bit of both. So while I'm out doing this, I'm doing promo for the record and
Yeah.
get to play some of the new songs live. So it's all good right now.
Oh, cool. So how is the new songs going well with the crowd?
Going over great. The singles, I chose those for a reason because I thought those would be the ones the fans could identify with, maybe easiest to first. But yeah, we've been playing them live, and the two video songs we have out, everyone singing along and knows them, and we even test another brand new one out that seems to go over even better than the ones we've already released. So things are all good here.
Yeah, one of the songs obviously is that real heavy one, Insides Out, that you did a video for.
Mhm.
Is that the one you've been playing live as well?
Yes, yeah, it's probably my favorite song to play in the live set. It goes over. It's just such a cool, weird song. Like
Mm.
tell people, I was like, it's probably the the heaviest song of our career, but it's not like it's just I don't know. It sounds like a monster. When I first heard the music, I went, oh, this sounds like a horror movie. I
Mm.
got to put some I got to put some good words to it. So
Yeah.
I think we succeeded.
Yeah, and the video is pretty gory as well. Like I think it kind of surprised a few people because it was a little bit, I guess, a bit more gory than we're used to seeing with the Wednesday 13 video.
Yeah, it wasn't funny this time. It wasn't I've always kind of always had a little tongue in cheek kind of thing, but
Yeah.
this is pretty brutal. And that's what I wanted it to be. It wasn't necessarily made after any particular movie scene. I just literally, when I think of that sort of kind of torture scene that's in that movie, it reminded me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 when Leatherface is taunting the lady with the mask
Yeah.
and just sort of I just thought that was always really weird and disturbing, and so to sort of recreate something like that with my own video was a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool. And obviously the new album coming out October 7th, but obviously the last album, Necrophaze, was only a few months before the pandemic hit. So I guess you never really got to play out that album in full after everything sort of shut down, right?
No, it was that's the weirdest thing, man. It sucked because it put so much work into that record, and we literally had just a, t- two tours to actually play songs from that, but it wasn't our own tour, so we were a support act. So we had a 35-40 minute set, and I couldn't play the whole Necrophase album, so we only got to play a couple of tracks. And when the pandemic hit, and once everybody started seeing it was going from 1 month to 2 months to three, oh, now the year's canceled. I was like, man, this record's it's dead. It's dead in the water. There's nothing you can do with it. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, on to the next one. So that's kind of what we did. So it's unfortunate that we didn't get the tour on it, but we still play some of those songs live, and I don't even know what would if I don't know what would have happened. I don't think this album would sound the way it sounds, or even be the way it was, if had we would have continued touring. I think it would have went in a completely different direction. So maybe it was good that happened, and because I'm really really proud of this record, and the direction and the sound and just everything with it.
Yeah, I had a chance to preview the album yesterday, and it's fantastic. I even think it's even better than Necrophaze. So, in a weird way, I'm kind of glad that, not to say that we wish the pandemic happened, but, obviously this album would have probably not happened because of that happening. But I do feel like first question I want to ask about the album, the intro track, Severed. I kind
Mhm.
of feel there's a connection between that and Necrophase because it has a bit of the weird sort of same sound as Necrophase. Is there a connection at all between the two?
Just just the fact that I love synth intros and I'm a big John Carpenter fan, and I just that's why his movies are my favorite. Everything from Halloween to Escape from New York, Assault on Precinct 13, They Live, The Fog, Prince of Darkness. He just had
Yeah,
all these great intros.
classics. Yeah.
So during the pandemic, I bought a really cool synthesizer keyboard and just entertained the hell out of myself with it. And unfortunately, that's the only thing that we recorded that I wrote. I wrote a lot of stuff with keyboards and stuff, and I thought it was maybe a little too different for Wednesday 13. But who knows? Some of those songs could come back out. But I love to be able to experiment and play like little, because I've always viewed my band and our albums as like a movie that you listen to, and so it's got to have its ins and its outs, and there's always intro is always important to me. And but yeah, it's very similar to in line with Necrophaze. But we were doing, I think we even were doing a synth intro and stuff on the Dixie Dead record too. There's an intro and outro too. So
Yeah.
it kind of started back then, and then I just, so who knows? Next record, it could have a couple more little things like that.
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of the Dixie Dead, I mean, that to me always sounded like a movie soundtrack. I mean, it's got all those little interludes and all that kind of stuff. And I kind of feel that was always the sort of the goal that you always wanted to do when you created an album, was to sort of create a soundtrack to some degree.
Yeah, it's like I said, that's what I always wanted to be. I wanted to be a musical horror movie, something fun that people come to, and not just one horror movie, a mix of everything. The slashers, the super scary ones, the super dumb ones. So yeah, it's I think we try to cover it all.
Speaking of soundtracks, then, do you have a favorite movie soundtrack at all?
Oh, that's a good question. Like I said, it's going to be a John Carpenter one. That's why it's hard to pick. But I really like his Escape from New York soundtrack. There's just some really cool stuff in that, and there's one track on it in particular called the bank robbery, which is just makes you want to dance. It's just got a cool, it's a cool thing to it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's definitely my hero in the soundtrack field. So I would have to go with that Escape from New York.
And obviously, you referenced him in one of the tracks as well, Return to Haddonfield as well. Was that just playing around with synths and all that kind of stuff as well, or?
Well, there's two Carpenter songs on the album. There's Christine, which is about the car,
Oh, of course, yeah.
from the Stephen King novel, and then Return to Haddonfield. Again, when I was coming up with the music for the Return to Haddonfield, I was literally sitting on my couch. It was the week of Halloween, and on TV they were just showing all the Halloween movies like back to back, like almost to the point where I was like, I saw it probably 10 times within a 2 week kind of period. So it was just kind of always on, and I was sitting there playing guitar, and I don't know, I started kind of humming up something Halloween, and I was like, all right, because at first I was just going to write a song about Halloween, not the movie, just in general, just because everyone loves Halloween. And then I went, man, I was like, it'd be kind of cool if I wrote a sequel to my original song. I had a song called Haddonfield on my second album. So this is sort of the sequel to it. So this is sort of, if that one was part one, this is part two of the Halloween thing. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it just fit. It's easy for me to write that kind of stuff. And I've known that movie since and the storyline, since I was a little kid.
Yeah, cool. One of my favorite tracks on the album, though, and I hope you will maybe release it as a single because it kind of feels like a single to me, is the song "Hell Is Coming." I love the bluesy, heavy sort of swagger to that song. How did you come up with the idea for that one?
Again, just I was sitting around playing guitar. This is also another cool thing about, I guess the pandemic. If I could find cool things about the pandemic,
Yeah.
I started playing guitar again, and I wrote a lot of the guitar stuff for this album. The last couple records, I was pretty much just doing the vocals and doing that only, and not really writing much of the music, maybe a song here or there. But I wrote a good portion of this record, and of course, I'm never confident in what I do with my guitar work. So I'll write something that's cool, and then I'll get with my guitar player and go, all right, make this better. than what I'm doing. And he does it every time. So Hell is Coming was just I don't know. I was literally just I came up with that main riff, and I didn't even know if it was a cool riff or not. But when our guitarist and I got together and started kind of showing like, hey, what did you come up with? Here's a song. Okay, well, what about this? And I started doing that, and it almost kind of had a Danzig feel to me, like some of the something made off the first or second Danzig record.
Yeah.
And then once I gave that riff off to him, he started coming up with the rest of it, and then it just turned into this bluesy, almost like in the middle. It almost sounds like the band Carcass for a minute with the guitars and the. It's a really cool, unusual song, but just to throw that little bit of blues into it because it has a full-on blues guitar solo instead of this blistering metal guitar solo that would probably be expected. So yeah, that song, I don't have it planned as a single, but I do have it planned as something that that will definitely play live. I think it'll go over great.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, when I heard it, it just kind of just came out of the gates, and I just went, "Man, this is really like it is a little different, I guess, for Wednesday 13, but not necessarily in a bad way. Like I love that kind of sort of the more heavy rock kind of thing rather than the full on metal thing. That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm a fan of a lot of different styles. That's why we play a lot of different styles and try to make it work. And yeah, that one definitely has a bluesy, more rock vibe to it. But it works. It works, and it definitely fits in our. I can't say it. We have another song we've recorded that really sounds like that.
Yeah, cool. You mentioned about how you were more playing guitar on this one, as far as coming up with ideas, and you didn't do so on the last couple of records. Is that kind of like normal? Like, what's the process like normally for you when you sort of come up with the ideas?
Well, in the beginning of Wednesday 13, there was, it was just me, and I had a touring lineup that I went through. Every album cycle there'd be a different guitar player or this guy. So I handled all the music up until pretty much the Dixie Dead record, and that was the first time I started working with our guitarist and like him bringing ideas to the table. Monsters of the Universe would be the first album that we kind of co-wrote together and started working on ideas. And then Condolences, we got a new drummer at the time. Our drummer Kyle had came in, and he was honestly he was such a breath of fresh air for us, and he actually sort of revitalized my enthusiasm to do Wednesday 13. I was getting to a point where I was getting bored, and he came in and just lit a fire, and it was just like his drumming and everything. And then that was sort of the way we wrote on those last two records. It was our drummer, because he was multi-musician. The guy plays guitar, he can sing. So most of the last two records were by me and our drummer and our guitarist Ramon. So, but this album was the first one where I was like, okay, I gotta come up with some riffs this time, because we switched drummers, so we lost that songwriting partner in that again.
Yeah.
So so this record was and it was fun. I mean, it wasn't like it was a chore for me to play guitar again. It was fun, and I was coming up with cool riffs, and it was exciting. So I think I'm gonna keep doing that, because some of these songs like Good Day to Be a Bad Guy and Hideous were ones I came up with the riffs, and I think they're two going to be classic Wednesday 13 songs within a short time.
Yeah, definitely. Now I've got to ask, obviously, for the Aussie fans, because last time we saw you down here, you were coming down with Static X and all that. So, is there any talks of you maybe coming back down to Australia now that things have sort of back and opened up again?
Yes, I can't officially announce a tour yet, but I can say I got an email this week that said Australia tour offer, and it made me smile. So I opened it up, and it made me even smile more because it's soon. It's like January.
Oh, so, right, cool.
Yeah, so you'll probably be seeing us sooner than later. And it's gonna if it's the package I did, it's gonna be really super cool and something different than what I've done in the past, as far as like the support bands and stuff that's coming with us. So it's gonna be like a little mini festival tour, but I'll be the headliner. So
awesome.
yeah, so I've said too much. I've said too much. but it will be soon. So I'm very excited about that. I love Australia, and yeah, we can't wait to get back. I think that's some of my favorite shows we've ever done have been in Australia.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. How did the tour with Static X go, by the way? Because I caught you in the Perth show in Western Australia, and that seemed like it was such a fun little package tour thing. It was looked like a lot of good times.
It was fun. It just got old for me because we had been touring that exact package and all year long. So by the time we got to Australia, we had already did 60, 80 shows.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it was just yeah, I think we spent a little too much time with those guys that year, but but it was fun though. We had a good time and we got in front of some good audiences and it was good.
Yeah. Well, look, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. And congrats on the new album, man. I absolutely love it. So can't wait to see the release, and I end up buying the vinyl version or whatever, you know. So thanks again, man.
Thank you very much, man. Can't wait to get back to Australia and thank you for all the compliments on the record.